Today you are going to get a chance to hear from some entrepreneurs that are in your demographic. These guys started a company just a couple of years ago, and that's when they graduated from the University of Michigan. I'm going to let them tell you about themselves, but what they created is a shirt company. And you're sort of like, yeah, big deal. Why do I care about a shirt company when I'm going to go work for Facebook? Well, their shirt company is interesting because it's a problem-based solution. And the problem was it's very difficult to find shirts that fit an athlete's body well that are comfortable. So these gentlemen decided to solve that problem. And as a result of their ambition and endeavor, they are a local company that is taking off like crazy. So please give a warm 407 welcome to Stephen and Lee, and they're going to tell you their story. Thanks.
How's everyone doing? Nice response. We'd like to start off by thanking Tom, Boyd, and all of you for having us here today. We met with Boyd about a month ago at the Starbucks on South U. We had an excellent time getting to know him, and we told him our story, and at the end of the meeting, he invited us to speak in front of you guys today, and obviously we accepted. And after that, we were kind of like, I don't really know if we're qualified to be doing this. And we did some research on who had spoken to you guys previously this semester, and we quickly came to the conclusion that we are really not qualified to be here today. So, we appreciate it, and we're excited to tell our story today.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. So, a little background on Lee and I before we get into the story of State and Liberty. Lee and I went to the University of Michigan, graduated in 2013. Lee was captain of the hockey team here. I was president of the men's glee club. And Lee was a history major. I was a complex systems major. After school, we both went on to use our degrees. Lee went on to play professional hockey, and I went on to work in data analytics in the front office for the Detroit Tigers.
Like Steve was saying, after college, I was bouncing around the minor leagues for a couple of years, and I was able to save a little bit of money that first year. And I remember kind of being obsessed with the idea of investing, and I was doing as much research as I could. I was reading a lot of books, which for me was more listening to audiobooks, and was really trying to educate myself. And I knew Steve had a good job with the Tigers, and I reached out to him, and I said, what are you doing with your money? And we got to talking, and a couple weeks later, we invested our money together. And it was from that moment that we kind of built this, and we launched this business-type friendship. And whenever we were talking about the money we'd invested, or companies, and then more specifically, menswear brands.
Yeah, so this brings us back to the summer before this past one, where Lee and I were living together here in Ann Arbor. Lee had just finished up an internship at Bellagio in Vegas, and I was working 9 to 5 with the Tigers. We were talking quite a bit about how much we hated that 9 to 5 life. We hated sitting at a desk all day. We hated actually the 9 to 5, and we hated the dress shirts we had to wear when we were out there. So this led us to kind of one of our, summer traditions, drinking beer. And, as we were talking, after every beer, we got a little more confident in what we could do better about dress shirts. We could make the fit better, we could make the fabric better, we could make the collars better, we could do this better than anybody else out there. And, with a little bit of liquid courage, I think we said that, hey, maybe we should go about it and make our own dress shirts.
So it was a morning after one of those nights of drinking, and we were at one of our favorite spots, Cafe Zola, and Steve kind of blurted out, listen, I know we've been talking about it over some beers the past couple of nights, but I really want to do this. I want to make a dress shirt that, I love to wear, and I'd love you to help me do it. And, naturally, I said yes, and I was excited about it. The idea of wearing our own stuff was very appealing, as well as I knew it was my last year playing professionally, and it would be a good way to kind of take up some time away from the rink. So we got to talking. And we asked the age-old question of, what's missing in this market? And we felt like no one was really providing a dress shirt for us. And then we asked the question, well, who are we? And we came up with the answer that we're young professionals, we happen to be fit guys, and we're looking for a great feeling, superior fitting, professional-looking dress shirt. So we set out to do that. And we started making prototypes.
So the first thing we had to do was go and find fabric. And we wanted an athletic performance fabric. We wanted something that was stretchy, that wicked sweat away, machine washable, wrinkle-free, all the stuff that you'd find in a workout shirt, but we wanted it in a dress shirt. So we contacted 5 to 6 fabric mills in the US. All of them said, hey guys, if you're looking for athletic performance fabric, you gotta go overseas. Nobody's making that here. So went on Alibaba, contacted maybe 40 different factories, got samples from maybe 20 of them. We were in our basement hanging out, stretching these things, feeling them, looking at them, checking them out. narrowed it down on one factory that we really liked working with, really liked the quality of their stuff. We said, hey, can you send our 6 meters of fabric, and we'd love to try to make some prototypes.
So we're really excited. We have this fabric. So next is the shirt construction. And Steve had made a connection with a factory when he did some traveling with the Glee Club, so we started communicating. And we had an idea of what we want to do as far as the cuffs, the collars, and the style of the shirt, but we knew if we wanted to be different from other menswear brands out there that are making dress shirts, it had to be our fit. And we felt like no one was providing for that athletic body. And with shirts that we had bought in the past, if the shirt fit in the chest, it was really blousy at the waist. And if it would fit in the waist, the button on the chest would be pulling like crazy. So we set out to do that, and we started making prototypes. And if you look up here, this is our first prototype that Steve sent to me. He actually didn't even tell me what it was about when he first got it, because he didn't want to kind of bias my opinion. And I got it, and I opened the package, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be a lot harder to do than we thought. So if you kind of check out our first one here, obviously collars are just a mess. There's no structure to them. The sleeves are about 10 inches too long, and just the style of that shirt is obviously atrocious from the color to the way it looks. We kind of call it our safari shirt. And we kind of just kept improving, and coming up and tinkering around with these prototypes until we finally came to something that we liked.
Yeah, so we got to the point where we were proud of the product, and we started telling our friends about what we were doing. We're like, hey guys, we had this idea. We want to make some more prototypes. Any chance that you guys would be willing to pick up a couple shirts at cost, wear them around, and tell us what you think? And we have some phenomenal friends. They said absolutely, happy to do it. So we gave our factory a call, said we need 20 meters of fabric, and this fabric can blend. What do you have in stock? And they said, we've got this great blue gingham. We'll send it over. I think it'll look great as a shirt. So we said, fantastic. Send it over. Shirts were made. Came to us. Looked a little bit more like a tablecloth than it did a shirt. And we got to the point where we said, can't really do anything else. So we sent them out to all our friends. They tried them on. They wore them around. They said, hey, I don't know what I think about the pattern, but in terms of the shirt itself, it feels great. It fits great. If you can come out with something that actually looks good, in terms of the pattern, I think this idea has some legs. I think you guys should run with it.
So we kind of had this blessing from our friends, and we were excited they liked what we were doing. So we thought, all right, let's do this. Let's order up some shirts. So we ordered 100 white shirts and 100 blue gingham shirts. Blue gingham on the left. That's a bit of an awkward picture of me on the right that my roommate caught of me. My first time trying on the white shirt. And we were excited. And as these shirts were being produced, we kind of used that time to take care of the operational side of the business and really get our logistics figured out as far as when the shirts come in, how they're going to get out the door, how they're going to get to our customer, as well as putting us in the best situation to kind of showcase and sell our product.
Yeah, so I was back here in Ann Arbor. Lee was down in South Carolina playing pro at the time, and we started working on some of the operational stuff to get the company up and running. So we started a website. We incorporated it as a company, which is important. We started taking some promo pics. Lee got his whole team together down in South Carolina, took some pictures that looked a little more like prom pictures than they did promo pics for an up-and-coming men's fashion brand. But nonetheless, it's what we had. We ran with it. We got them up online. I gave Lee a call. I said, website's good to go. Products are listed. Let's sell them.
So I'm all fired up, and I'm thinking, this is the moment. Like, we're about to be rich. Like, this is an idea. Like, we're going to make it. We're about to take off and be famous. And I remember running over to my computer and to go to the back end, and I'm clicking on the site, and not only is no one buying, no one's even coming to the site. And I'm thinking of that Field of Dreams quote where, if you build it, they will come. And I was thinking, that is such a crock of shit, and it's not true. And I remember that whole month really grinding out sales and like texting friends, begging with them, pleading, pick up a shirt, we'll give you a discount. And eventually our friends came through like we thought they would. And they picked up the shirts, and they told their friends, like, hey, this isn't kind of a joke. Like, these guys actually have something here. And we just kind of kept rolling.
Yeah, so end of January comes around. We're starting to get rolling a little bit. And the Detroit Free Press gives us a call and says, hey, guys, we heard about your story, heard about the hockey thing. Love the story, love it, makes sense. We'd love to write something on you. And said, fantastic, love it. And so they did a couple interviews. They wrote something up, ran it on the front page of the sports section. And we just got absolutely hammered with orders. People are buying shirts like we thought they would be from day one. So we're, this is fantastic. I love it. We call our factory in China, say we need more fabric, we need more shirts, make the stuff. And they said, guys, it's February. It's the Chinese New Year. We're closed for the next 5 weeks. And we said, oh, fantastic. That's great news. So we reached out to every single one of our customers that had ordered, said, we don't have a shirt for you. Really sorry about this. Here's what's going on. We got crushed by the article in the Free Press. Any chance you're willing to wait 4 or 5 weeks? Lee and I were sitting there literally just emailing each one of these people, and they were extremely accommodating, extremely nice about it. And after the longest 28-day month of all time, we got through it, sent out the shirts, and we were well on our way. We were rolling into the next month.
So things are going pretty well. We kind of got through that month. And as a company, we kind of feel like we can't wear someone else's product. So every other day, we're wearing this white and blue shirt, and we're getting sick and tired of it. So we're thinking, let's come out with some new shirts. So that's exactly what we did. And we came out with these spring shirts. We have quality's not that great here, but like a nice light purple shirt, a big black check, and a business blue. And so we kind of launched these, and it's a real make or break time for the company because we've had some customers that have picked up a white shirt and then picked up a couple more after purchasing one time, but we didn't really know, and our friends were telling us, we like the shirt, it's cool, but we didn't really know if the customers were really loving it. So this was a big moment for us. And so we launched the shirt. Steve sends out the email, and wake up to a couple orders that morning, and I'm like, okay, this is a little unusual. This might be a good sign. And then I go to practice for the day. I'm away from my phone for like 4 hours. And I come back, and it is just buzzing with orders. And I remember that being a real gratifying kind of breakthrough moment for us that, maybe we were onto something in customers like we were doing, and we were developing this small but loyal customer base.
Yeah, so Lee and I got to chatting, and we kind of said, hey, if we really want to take this thing to the next level now, we got to go visit our factory. We got to go to China. We got to see what's going on. And so we went over to Shanghai and visited our fabric factory, checked out everything they had, really came up with a new fabric blend while we were over there, went to a nylon poly spandex blend instead of a poly spandex blend, visited our shirt maker, went to stiffer collars and cuffs, really locked down on the sizing, added darts in the back, and just ended up with a way better product than we had to begin with, and got back, we're really happy with it, and we were actually ready for the next chapter.
So we're really excited with our product. We know that what we're going to be giving is just a huge upgrade from what we've been selling in the past. So the biggest thing we wanted to do, we wanted to up our image. And the first thing we did was take some pro pictures. And we worked with Ben Weatherston out of Ann Arbor. Give him a little plug. He does great work. Obviously, this is a pretty cool pic and better than anything we were taking with our iPhones. And along with that, we started getting really serious about social media and really being strategic about when we were posting, what we were posting, and using it more as a tool to brand ourselves than just something fun to post whenever we wanted. Lastly was our website. And as an online business, your website is your first impression that the customer is going to get. So we really wanted to step that up and really project as much of a professional look as we could. And we spent most of August kind of doing that.
Yeah, so here's a little evolution of our website, if you can hit play. Started out pretty rough. This is in the beginning. Went on to our spring collection website, went a little bit better, and our current website, Santa hat and all, actually looks professional, actually scrolls. We have real graphics. This is our original product page, doesn't look great. Moving on to our current product page, looks clean, looks professional, and it really actually gave across the point that maybe this is a professional company instead of two recent college grads who are making some shirts for themselves and selling them to their friends.
And with the upgraded website, we wanted to give people who are coming to our site an idea of what we were all about. So at the end of August, we rallied together all of our friends, and we shot this really fun video with our friends Constant Motion of Ann Arbor. Play this. So that was actually a 30-second video. We actually have a 2-minute one that goes a little more detail. But that website, and obviously this video does a nice job of kind of showing what we're all about. It gives some nice description on our product, but the most important thing, it gives you an idea of kind of our perfect customer and who we're going after. And we kind of set out to do that, and we thought with the website and this video, our conversion rate as far as people coming to the site and actually purchasing really increased. So it's always satisfying to kind of have an idea and then execute on it and then have it actually work out well for the company.
Yeah, so we had a new website, we had the video, we had 3 new shirts, the ones up here, ready to launch. And we said, hey, let's try to do something a little bigger for this launch. So we gave Shinola a call, who had a new store in Ann Arbor, contacted them, said we'd love to do a launch event at your place, and they said absolutely, let's do it. Gave us the space after the Oregon State football game, invited people, had an article in M Live, had a bunch of folks come through. Sales went phenomenal there. Then that Monday, we launched our shirts online. Sales went even better than we could have expected yet again. And we kind of said, hey, maybe this is another time we need to take this a little bit more seriously, really take another step up and take this to the next level.
Like Steve was saying, we had a great fall launch, and it was really apparent to us that this thing needed a lot more attention than what we're giving it. So I kind of made the decision. I retired from playing hockey, and my full focus has been on the company ever since. And it's amazing that, we always thought that we were pretty invested, but we had other things going on in training for hockey and stuff like that. But when you're completely invested in the company and it's your full-time job, it's amazing how much you can propel it forward. And one of the biggest things that we're finding success is in-person sales. And we've had a good time selling anywhere from Michigan football tailgate to local fitness studios, hotel rooms of NHL guys, really anywhere will have us. Because for us, it's about getting the product in people's hands and having guys actually try on the shirts, and that's when we can kind of get them hooked. And we've kind of been able to generate revenue that way, and enough to where we have some money in the bank, and we hired on a PR firm who's also helped us increase our revenue. And it's been an amazing 3 months for us. We've only been going for a year, just short of a year, but it's been an amazing 3 months since that fall launch, and especially the last 60 days. We've done half of our annual revenue in the past 60 days, and just kind of on a nice wave where we have some great momentum going. And at this point in our company, we're just trying to make the proper steps to keep growing our business.
Yeah, so like Lee said earlier, not that we're all qualified to do this, but here's our year one advice for you guys. Just want to give a couple pointers based on our experiences.
Yeah, so obviously going off our experiences, find a business partner, and don't just anyone who's on the street that's walking around. Really be strategic about it. And your business partner should have 3 things. They should be passionate about what you're doing, obviously. The second is you got to be able to stand them because you're going to be working with them a lot. And the third one, what was the third one, Steve?
Third thing about business partner?
Yeah.
Weaknesses?
That's right. You got to make sure they complement your weaknesses. And we really think it's important for the main reason of morale. And starting a company, it's a beautiful journey, and it has tons of ups and downs and a lot of bumps in the roads. And I can specifically remember in August, we were putting in all this effort towards this fall launch and making this video and upgrading our website, and sales were so slow. And there'd be days when I was like, man, what are we doing here? We're working so hard. We're not getting rewarded. And he'd forward me an email from a guy saying, hey, this is the best shirt company. I've been looking for you guys my whole life. Like, thank you so much. I can't wait to be a customer for life. And at 3 hours later, Steve would be like, what are we doing here? Like, I hate this. This sucks. And I'd be like, no, man, like, we're pushing for the fall. Like, it's all going to be worth it. And it's really good to have someone in the trenches with you for those dark times. And it makes it all that better when you have the success and you have someone to share it with.
Yeah, absolutely. To the second point here, and take this with a grain of salt, but advice is great, but take it all with a grain of salt. We have met with so many alumni, so many people from the Michigan family that have helped us out, so many people that have shared their wisdom, their time, their experience with us, and it's been invaluable. I mean, we would not be where we are without it, but at the same time, you've got to remember that this is your company. So we met with somebody a couple months ago for breakfast, and they said, guys, I love what you're doing. This is fantastic. You should go out and get $2 million in venture capital money. You should get a fully funded salary. You should get a ton of employees for the company and really take this thing to the next level. And then we had lunch with somebody later that day, and they said, guys, I love what you're doing. Bootstrapping is exactly the way to go. You shouldn't go out. You shouldn't get any money. You shouldn't take any investment. Keep the whole thing for yourselves and keep it rolling. Then, a few weeks later, we were meeting with somebody, and they said, guys, I love the shirt thing, but don't you think you should be coming out with suits, pants, shirts, quarter zips, sweaters, socks, shoes, the whole thing for the athletic guy? And we said, yeah, it makes total sense. Let's do it. Then 3 hours later, we have lunch with somebody else, and they said, guys, the shirt thing is great. You should be doing this. You shouldn't focus on any other product for at least 2 to 3 years. And so, it goes to show you got to stay true to yourself. You got to stay true to what you believe in. Get all the advice out there that you possibly can. But at the end of the day, the success of the company is going to be on you, and you've got to make the decisions.
And our last piece of advice is don't be scared of competition. A lot of you out there, if you're going to start your own company, it's really rare to have a truly unique idea. So most of you are just going to be building off of an existing product and making it better, which is what we did. And we've entered one of the most crowded competitive spaces up against companies like J.Crew, Banana Republic, Brooks Brothers. They've been making shirts for hundreds of years. And not only that, companies like Nike and Lululemon and Under Armour are also making button downs. There's another competitor who has J.J. Watt as their brand ambassador. But the bottom line is we felt like we could improve on a product, and we felt like there was something missing for us. And we've been telling a story about why we're doing this. And we really think that's really important. You have to tell that story about why and then sell the shit out of that story. So really want to appreciate you guys having us out here today. Hope you can learn anything. Want to let you guys know, if you go to the website, www.staylimber.com, be a good sibling, be a good girlfriend, pick one up for yourself. email your mom, text your mom, tell her to pick one up. If you use a discount code #407, you get $10 off. And if we don't see an influx of sales after this, we're going to be pretty disappointed and come after you all. So
All right.
we appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Have a seat, you guys.
How has that helped you, like the networking as being a varsity athlete here? And are you guys going to be going into like making more than just dress shirts? Because this kind of thing where it's like if you're kind of tall and maybe slender or whatever is like impossible to find stuff for. So this is pretty dope.
Thanks
Go ahead.
for the dope question. So I'll take the first part of the question. I'll let Steve take the second. We always say that, if we didn't have this Michigan network, and I had the best of both worlds, I feel like, where we had this Michigan network, and then I had this hockey network, which has also been fantastic for us. And Varsity Athlete, it's amazing, and I don't know how involved you are with like Sherry Acho and the Impact program. I'm not even sure if it's still called that, but they're looking to help people out and engage people and connect you with other athletes, other alums. So it's really been amazing, and we say it all the time, if we didn't have this Michigan connection and the hockey connection, we'd have no one to sell to. We'd have this, well, at the time, decent product, but no one to sell to. And it's really important from that standpoint. And I always like to tell this story because I think it's a good one. The hockey community is so special, and especially the minor league hockey, which is obviously my strongest network, they're some of our best customers. And I like telling this story where I feel like hockey is the only sport where a guy that I've played against who, we got into a fight, he punched me in the face, I punched him in the face, and he's a good customer of ours. And I don't think you see that with a lot of other sports.
So blood washes out of the shirts, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Wrinkle-free, stain-resistant, keep pumping them, yeah. So I'll let Steve take the second part of that question.
Yeah, in terms of other products, that's another one where Lee and I balance each other out pretty well. One day Lee will wake up and say, dude, think we need to make suits, we need to make pants, let's get after it. And I'm like, let's take it slow, let's concentrate on the shirt, need to really perfect this before we go any further. Then 4 hours later, I'll say, dude, I think you're 100% right, we gotta make suits, we gotta make pants. And he'll be like, take it slow, we gotta take it slow, let's make sure we nail the shirt before we do anything else. And that's where we're at right now, but we definitely have some prototypes in the wings and some suits, pants, things like that coming in the next couple of years.
The biggest thing is we want to be known as State and Liberty. Oh man, those guys make amazing dress shirts for athletes. And until we're at that level, I don't think we're going to be ready to move on.
Jordan, you want to take one from the stage?
So you've definitely done a great job leveraging that hockey network, leveraging that Michigan network. But what's the next step once you've kind of really mastered that field and kind of going beyond that?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, we hired a PR firm. And they're really helping us kind of reach those GQ, those Esquires, those New York City glossy editorials that we have no connections with. And although we feel like we've done a pretty good job with our connections, there's still a lot of work to be done. And I'm sure you guys have been taught, the word of mouth is the strongest form of marketing. When someone buys a shirt from us and they email us and they're all excited and say, I'm telling all my friends about it, I'm making them buy the shirts, they're gonna love it. And that's the best way. And although you wanna kind of just grow as fast as you can, it's definitely a process, and you need those kind of word of mouths to take time and to come to fruition.
We got one down here.
It was wonderful listening to your story. Thank you. In the beginning, I believe a major turning point for you was when you had your company featured on the first page of the Detroit Free Press. How did you go about doing that? Were you contacted by the Detroit Free Press, or did you reach out to them first?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. We just got like a direct message on Twitter. And they were like, hey, we'd love to write an article about you. And that's how it started out. Did a couple interviews, and they'd heard about us. We had a lot of hockey players tweeting about us, so it was actually a hockey writer for the Free Press who'd seen a couple Red Wings talk about it and things like that. And so he's like, who are these guys? Looked into us, said, hey, this could be a good story to write something about.
But to kind of get, it's very difficult to do, and to get the articles written on the bigger publications, it's amazing. They drive people to your site, they drive sales, and they're so crucial to grow. And they're definitely not as easy. That was the easiest one, the first one and the easiest one that we've had for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I know that you guys are a menswear company, but as a woman who does a lot of kind of shopping and trying to dress nicely and professionally, a lot of women's clothing kind of does have stretch fit material and does kind of embody a lot of the things that you're talking about in your shirts. Did you look at women's clothing at all when kind of coming up with your product?
No. No, not at all. We just, by no means, and we always find it funny, we were out in New York for an event, and someone says, hey, you got to meet these fashion designers. They're State and Liberty. And we're like, we are not fashion designers. That just sounds really weird. But no, we like clothes. We've always talked about clothes, and we really had an idea of what we wanted. And the biggest thing was that fit. And we saw companies that were doing stuff with different fabrics, and we were intrigued by it. Didn't feel like they were executing on the professional look, but yeah, we just had a strong idea of what we wanted and what we were looking for.
Well, and in the 2-minute version of your video, it appears that people who wear your shirts are very successful with the female audience. So
Yeah.
it's a lifestyle choice, obviously.
lifestyle, for
Question
sure.
down here.
Yeah, do you guys think you'll ever try for a brick and mortar operation of any kind?
You know, I think there's two ways to go brick and mortar, right? One is to go into retail and one is to open your own store. And I think we're certainly open to both options, but for now, you know, with an e-commerce store, it's so much easier to make a little bit of money. I mean, the margins are way better if you're selling it yourself than if you have somebody else selling it. For now, though, you know, retail is something we're looking into in terms of having other people carry it basically from an advertising perspective, getting our shirts out there to more audiences. And I think our own store is probably a ways off.
What's the story behind the name?
To be honest with you, if you talk about year one
Did
struggles,
one of you guys pass out there after one of your brainstorming sessions, or?
a little bit of vomit there. No, I mean one of the real struggles of year one was coming up with a name, and Steve tells this story better. But we wanted to have a Michigan base. Obviously, we love this place and want to pay homage to Ann Arbor and the University of Michigan. And we had presidents, athletic directors, football players. We were trying to like make some sort of formulation with names of Michigan connections.
I
And
think we were called Chrysler and Yost at one point,
Yeah, like-
at some point.
like we didn't really like the ring of like Hoover and Dewey. That wasn't
Yeah.
really getting it done. And then just kind of switched over to street names, and then that just kind of made sense. And
State
we
Liberty's
went with
also
it.
worked out well, I think, from the perspective of, you know, you talk to a Michigan guy and Michigan girl, whoever, and they say, State and Liberty, oh, it's a great intersection in Ann Arbor, that's phenomenal. And then we talk to somebody else who has nothing to do with Michigan. State and Liberty, wow, what a great American name. So it's worked out well from that perspective that, you know, everybody finds it to be a great name, even if you have no idea where it comes from.
God bless State and Liberty. Jordan,
Yeah.
you have another question?
Yeah, so you guys are actually only like a couple years older than most of the people in the audience right now, and there's a lot of people interested in entrepreneurship in this class. So what was it like kind of taking that plunge and, you know, giving up other job opportunities you guys might have had to kind of go all in and really go for this company?
I think we were lucky where we kind of had, you know, and Steve's involved with some other startups and some consulting, but for me, it was just hockey and this. And was lucky where I had a profession where I can get paid and support myself and still have a lot of time away from the rink to kind of grow this business. And like I said, so we had the spring launch, and that went pretty well, but still, you know, the numbers are all relative. Like for us, it went well. And then we had the fall launch, and it was just very apparent that this needed more attention. You know, we're potentially onto something. We are really gaining this loyal customer base. And you know, when you're selling, you know, when your average customer owns 3 shirts, like you know you have something going on. And just felt like it was time to kind of take that plunge. But we were lucky enough where, you know, we didn't have to just drop everything. We kind of had this process to make sure that what we were doing was right and that people were liking it before we kind of dove in.
We proved that it was viable before we, you know, really had to take the plunge, I guess.
Steve's got better vocabulary than I do.
You guys talked about your partnership, but is one of you the final word? And how do you
Absolutely.
How do you so who's the final word?
We really don't have. He
Yeah.
was joking.
I don't really think so. It's more like
sure one's
I think
coming,
we
though.
get like pretty emotional, like with like stupid things. Like I know early on we were getting emails from like a customer and be like, hey, this shirt doesn't fit me right. And then we'd be like, oh man, we got to increase the sizing. Like we're doing it all wrong. And we're definitely a little emotional from that standpoint, but I think we do a good job kind of complimenting each other. And we're emotional at the time, and then we kind of like let some time pass, and we kind of think about it a little more, and we're usually on the same page with a lot of stuff. And we both kind of run, you know, different sections of the company. You know, Steve's kind of the back end guy, I'm the front end guy. So we kind of just let each other do each other's job, and it's no real fist fights yet that I can think of.
If either of you made a horrible mistake that the other one had to forgive and move on.
So this morning, Steve sent out, actually, we sent out an email to our customers saying, you know, hey, just want to let you know, think of us for Christmas, da-da-da, we appreciate you. I should probably word that a little better, but, and he sent it out, and it's supposed to say, hey Jim, you know, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and it said #name on all the customers. So we woke up to like 15 emails from friends saying, hey, I don't know if it was just me, but you had a little bit of a faulty email go out this morning. So yeah, he'll be reprimanded this afternoon, for sure.
When did you guys see your greatest increase in sales? Was it when you launched more shirts, when you like improved the website, or when?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was any one thing. I think it was a combination of all those factors,
Perfect
right?
storm, I would say.
Yeah, for 4 months of the year, we had 2 shirts on sale. So the fact that we have 10 now, it's a lot easier to sell more shirts, right? So we have a number of people that come to the website and they buy 8 or 9 shirts at once, which is, a lot better for business when somebody comes to the website and buys all your shirts and it's 2 of them. So that's definitely helped. At the same time, our conversion rate now is way better on the website than it was in February. So, that's probably due to the website and our name being a little better and our video and all those things. And then, I think it just grows on itself over time, right? So people have a shirt, they wear it around, they like it, they buy more, and yeah, having more shirts helps a lot.
Yeah.
How much did you know about making shirts when you started? Was there a learning curve, and how did you get over it?
Oh my God, yeah.
We knew nothing about making shirts when we started, I would say.
Yeah, we like to use the term of, we came out with 100 white shirts and 100 blue shirts that we were proud of at the time. And we find that with our website and the product. And we took in a ton of customer feedback, and we really reached out to customers personally and said, hey, if you could change the shirt, what would you do? We took that all into consideration. And then we really, kind of upped our shirt. We went over to our factory and just learned. It was a full education in the fabric. And, our original shirts had some pilling going on. And we were like, I wonder if you can fix this. And we reached out and, hey, yeah, let's put an anti-pill in there. Like, we had no idea you can do that. And, this shirt wrinkles a little more. Okay, we got to put more anti-wrinkle treatment on it. And it's like, I didn't even know this stuff existed. And then with the dress shirt, Steve touched on it a little bit, but like stiffer cuffs and collars and stiffer plackets to make a more structured shirt. This is all stuff we didn't know anything about, but then kind of learned it as we went along. And if we were to show you or pass around like a used first generation product, what we have now, it's really amazing. It's almost embarrassing, and like you feel bad that you sold it to people at one point. But I feel like that's just kind of the nature of the beast, and just got to kind of keep improving, and we're still trying to do that today.
You talked also about competitive pressure. So it's a 2-part question. Number one, is anybody trying to take you out or trash talk you? And
Do you know Do you know like an inside scoop on this?
no, I don't actually.
Okay, funny you asked that. Yeah.
Up to you.
So there's a competitor who's like making some shirts, and I actually used to be a customer of theirs. We both did actually, and we loved the idea. We thought it was a great shirt. We didn't think it was very professional, and the founder of that company knew I was a customer and had some negative things to say about me on Twitter, and reached out via email demanding I call him. So that was a pretty funny conversation.
And
Don't need to go into any more detail, I don't think.
the follow-on was going to be, is there anything that you guys feel is proprietary other than your brand and your customer service? I mean, you talked about changing your fabric mix that you are hoping will protect your competitive advantage in the market.
Yeah, I don't think, we talked to a couple attorneys and things like that. There's certainly nothing patentable of what we're doing. At the same time, I think there's a lot more that is more difficult to do than we thought it was from day one, right? So finding a size shirt that actually fits the athletic body well is a lot harder process to do, a lot harder to come up with than might be thought of at first, right? Finding a fabric that actually doesn't wrinkle, actually is machine washable, actually stretches well compared to our first shirts, which did not do a lot of those things very well, is really difficult. And so, and on top of that, building the brand obviously is extremely important as well. But we don't have any patents on what we're doing, but I think it would be really hard to just jump in and compete with us right away as well.
Stephen Lee, thanks for coming this morning. How have your majors, complex systems and history, influenced your strategy in starting a company?
I like to think I majored more in like making friends and developing a network than really history. I'm a pretty solid Jeopardy player, and I can answer a couple of trivia questions from here to here, but yeah, not so much. I'll let Steve take this one, I think.
There's a little I do in terms of, coming up with how many size mediums are we going to get, how many size larges, doing some projections for the next year, doing fabric projections, stuff like that has something kind of to do with numbers. But, if you would have told me 4 years ago that I was going to be in a factory in China checking out fabric and pulling on it, I'd say that probably didn't have a ton to do with complex systems.
There's a question regarding advertising outside of media placement, etc. Have you done any sort of advertising campaigns, especially in the social media sphere?
Yeah, so we probably have 3 main advertising routes. We use AdRoll, we use Facebook ads, and we use YouTube ads. We do a little bit of Google AdWords and things like that, but bidding against J.Crew and Nordstrom for customers isn't exactly the best thing going. So those have been extremely successful. It's been great from a targeting perspective that you can get ads put in front of people that actually might care about your product, have the right body type, are the right age, have the disposable income, whatever it is. And so, the 21st century of advertising has really allowed us to do things that if a clothing brand was starting 30 years ago, you had to hire an ad agency, put up maybe a billboard, go TV, go newspapers. It's just a totally different landscape now than it was then, and you can do it on a lot smaller budget.
And with us, with our connections and trying to get the professional athletes to tweet, Instagram, and all that, that really goes a long way, and it's obviously a really cheap way of kind of acquiring customers and driving people to the site, and that's kind of where we've had the most success for sure.
Yeah.
How and when have you decided and how much to pay yourselves at this point, if you have at all?
I mean, we're bootstrapping this thing pretty good right now. All the money that comes in, it kind of gets reinvested. We're not afraid to put some dinners or some trips on the company card, but as far as that, yeah, I mean, we're kind of in the process of figuring out the next steps as far as what we want to do financially for ourselves, but lucky where we've been able to save up some money in the past stuff that we were doing, and I think our parents are always there for a flight home if we need it, and their support has been amazing. I think Steve's dad's actually here, so thanks. And yeah, so that support from the family is huge, obviously, but kind of in that stage right now, we're trying to figure out the next steps and how to compensate ourselves.
Have you discussed the possibility of dating a Kardashian to get more attention at the next Fashion Week?
We have, yeah. I don't know if we're on their level, really.
Yeah,
working on it, though.
We'll get there.
Jordan, last question's yours.
Yes, you guys have talked about, having athletes endorse you is probably the most successful way to grow your business. Do you guys have like that one athlete that would be your dream like brand ambassador?
We've had a lot of conversations about this as of late.
I think we've been lucky to the perspective of there's been a lot of guys that we've said, oh, wouldn't it be great if this person would send out a tweet or an Instagram or like our shirt, and we send them a shirt, and they like, yeah, we love this thing. We're happy to send it out. So I think it's been exciting from that perspective for sure. I don't think we have, one guy that we have in mind. But
I think like just from playing sports our whole lives, being athletic guys, we're more about trying to like build a team than really go after that huge megastar athlete. I think we'd rather have a couple of athletes across the board of all sports and really build a team of guys who, don't have dominoes going after them and stuff like that, but and are excited about this and see the opportunity to kind of grow this business. And we're kind of looking for that middle, that middleman where, exactly, not the megastar, but yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, let's have a nice round of applause for our guests.
Thank you.
I thought you were giving us a standing ovation.
What?
Time for my closing thoughts, then I'm going to let you guys out of here. First of all, thank you very much for being a part of 407. I've had a great time getting to know some of you. I've enjoyed your questions and comments, and even the mean tweet that compared Playboy to Disney that got Jamie Voris in trouble. You've had the chance to listen to a broad cross-section of CEOs this semester, from established companies like GE, true startups, venture capitalists, but they've all had one thing in common. They are successful, and for the most part, they found their path to success their own way, and that, my friends, is the secret. You will find success your own way. There are no shortcuts, whether you decide to join industry after you graduate and do some time at a major company like GE or a consulting firm, or if you decide to say screw it and start a shirt company like these guys did. You will face challenges and doubters and moments when you question your sanity and the sanity of those around you, as these guys have also verified. So try to find good mentors. They make this journey immeasurably easier. Maintain your relationships and don't burn bridges. The entrepreneurial community is very small, and on the off chance that you are leaving a company on less than perfect terms and you want to share your unvarnished opinion, bite your tongue and don't do it. You will thank me later. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Build a company that reflects human values. Don't be afraid to be afraid. Fear is never the enemy. Letting fear control you is the enemy. If you have a sense of humor, protect it and share it with others. If you don't have a sense of humor, find a business partner or fall in love with someone who does. Laughter will get you through the worst tragedies imaginable in business and life. If you work for someone else, try to give credit for your work to your boss. But if you have a boss that doesn't always try and give the credit to you, find a better boss. Opportunities are everywhere. It sounds like a cliche, but cliches are usually born of truth. So keep your eyes and your ears open. Good luck with exams and closing out the semester. Everybody have a nice holiday break. Thank you very much.
And we started expanding. It went well in Southview. That little store on Southview, we did $1 million in sales before we moved. And we started expanding. We moved to Western Michigan, Michigan State.